So I have a meme today. I just saw it on Creme Posting just this morning. So like hot and fresh, I guess. Although it's comparing Kaladin to Zuko from Avatar: The Last Airbender. So
Which are just super recent shows.
yeah, super recent stuff. But it was from Reddit user Flamite_gamer. I don't know. Whatever.
Are you actually supposed to pronounce usernames?
Well, I'm not gonna spell it out.
They don't seem right. They don't seem made to be pronounced, but that's just me.
Anywho, and it's, just comparing Kaladin to Zuko, and, like if you've seen Avatar: Last Airbender, there's, scenes with Zuko. Are you happy now? I'm never happy. It's a very Kaladin thing to say.
That is Kaladin.
And then, if you remember that episode in season 2 where Zuko's on a date, what do you like to do for fun? Nothing. I think really, I'm going to see if I can't copy this meme into the video portion of this somehow. But I really think the only thing that's missing from that is, like a little caution symbol on Zuko's forehead to signify that he's Kaladin.
I would agree that would be more accurate.
Anyway.
It's just fascinating how much you can just... Most hateful characters, but you love them.
Hateful?
Well, they're not hateful. They don't necessarily have likable traits. But they're still favorites.
Furious ball of hate that we all love.
Yes.
So hello and welcome to Cosmere Casual, your casual reader's guide to Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere. I'm your co-host, the Furious Ball of Hate, Nick Gorman.
I'm your co-host, AJ Gorman.
And today we're doing a pre-read episode for Words of Radiance, Book 2 of the Stormlight Archive. So what that means is we're going to give a spoiler-free review of the book. We're going to talk about, where, in a spoiler-free kind of way, like, hey, maybe read these other Cosmere books first.
And then we'll get into some spoilers in the second half.
Well, like a Way of Kings recap, which is book 1,
yeah.
Right?
So if you want to, if you want to recap and you don't want to have to read 600 pages before you start this one again,
or like say it's
highly recommended, but it's fair, completely fair. If you want to skip it, just get a recap.
I was about to say, or like if it's been a month or two since you read Way of Kings, although or
4
or a year, they're long books.
So let's get into it.
Yeah, so Words of Radiance, I feel like the fandom. Well,
hold on. Before we say that, before we just go into some warnings, this is pretty much the same for every book of the Stormlight, but
right.
as a gentle reminder, there is a lot of like suicide, abuse, the super uncomfortable things.
Yeah, depictions of drug use.
Yeah,
that can
addiction.
be triggering for some people. Yeah,
gambling.
Oh.
So if any of those things are triggers, maybe not the best series.
Yeah.
Probably not the best book. Yeah. So just fair warning.
Yeah. And we'll be discussing some of that in our
future episodes.
Yeah, in our discussions of the book. But yeah, no, Words of Radiance is, I don't know if it's most of the fandom's favorite Stormlight Archive book, but it's certainly the most memeable. There's a lot of like really,
it's just epic. I'm sorry. It is like the most epic.
Yeah. All right. Sorry, I had a real journey meaning in those grunts.
I can see that.
Yeah, it's pretty. It is pretty. Pretty epic out of this epic fantasy. It is probably the most epic of the epic fantasy.
Yes, and it just makes it a joy to reread and reread and reread.
Yeah.
Because even though you know what's coming, you're just like, this is just so epic. I just want to relive it over and over again.
Well, and there's like I found a lot of value out of rereading The Way of Kings several times. I found a lot of value of rereading Words of Radiance.
Yes.
We'll talk about some of that stuff in a future episode because, I want to talk about some specific things. But yeah, I mean, I guess spoiler-free takes of the book. If you like Brandon Sanderson's humor, it's at its most Brando Sando humor in this book.
In other words, puns.
There's a lot. The title is a pun. Right? Like one of the things from the last book was, what's going on with the Knights Radiant? And then it's Words of Radiance, but it's not, it's the noun form of radiant, not plural radiance, but they're pronounced the same. So the title is a pun. It's also an in-world book.
Oh my God.
What?
Really?
Yeah. You didn't tell me
Radiance versus, I don't know.
Radiant
to me, there's a difference.
Radiance. Yeah.
To me, there's a little bit of a difference, but okay.
Like, it's a pun, because, like, the in-world book, Words of Radiance, like, the something that emanates, is describing the different order of knights, the different orders of knights radiant. I love it. I love a good pun.
I'm sure you do. Okay. Anyways, you were saying there's a lot of Brandon Sanderson style humor.
Yeah, and, like, I feel, this is, kind of, like, guesstimating, shooting from the hips. Like, like 90% of my favorite Cosmere memes come from this book.
Okay.
Yeah. Not the Doug's thing, but that was Tress. We just read that last. So, what besides it being epic, is there anything else you want to talk about for this book in a spoiler-free kind of way?
Yeah, so I think it's fair to say that this book is kind of Shallan. The focus of this book is Shallan. So if you like Shallan as a character, there's a lot of focus on Shallan.
I was about to say, even if you don't like her as a character, like, I didn't care for her in Way of Kings, but, like, some of her scenes,
this might change your mind.
Like, there's one scene in particular it's a Shallan focused scene. It's a turning point for her, and it shivers. So good.
Towards the beginning?
No.
Okay, never mind.
Well, we'll talk about it.
Okay. But yeah, so I do happen to like Shallan. Sometimes it's a love-hate relationship where sometimes I just want to throw the book across the room because I think Shallan's being so dumb, and other times I'm like, whoa.
Well, and that's, like, part of her character is that she is naive and immature, but she also hams up how naive and immature she is, right?
Yeah.
We saw that a lot in the last book.
Other things I want to remind people of. So at the beginning of each book of the Stormlight series, or at least for the first arc, we see the same knight. And at the beginning of each book, you're viewing it from a different viewpoint character. So in Way of Kings, we saw it from
Szeth's son, Vallano, wore white on the day he was to kill a king.
So that was Way of Kings. This one is from the perspective of Jasnah.
Jasnah.
Which, if you're struggling to remember characters and their names, Jasnah is Gavilar's daughter.
Yep.
So she's the daughter to the king.
And if you're struggling with pronunciation, like, I don't know how it starts with a Y. Her name starts with a J.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I think that's about it. Do we want to go into a recap?
I kind of want to save the recap for the end. If you are the kind of person who likes to pick up on all of the interconnectedness of the Cosmere on your first read through, A, good luck. And B, there are references to the magic system in Mistborn, as well as there are a few cameos, including one that's quite of a bit of a stinger at the end from a Warbreaker. So if you want to feel the full impact of those, I highly recommend reading Mistborn Era 1 and Warbreaker before you go into this one. But I mean, otherwise, it's still very effective even without all that.
Agreed.
Yeah. There are very much cameos in this book. I think where we get into where they start to be more than cameos is really book 4 in this series.
It's a lot of foreshadowing as well.
Yes.
A lot.
Yes. As well as, like, there's one scene in particular where we see, I'm trying to think how, where we see things that are allusions to other magic systems for books that hadn't been published yet at this point in the Cosmere.
That's an interesting word that you chose. You shouldn't say illusions.
Why not?
I don't know.
Allusions, sorry. References to other magic systems of the Cosmere, including ones that we hadn't seen on screen when this book was published. So it's, if you're the kind of person who likes to literally understand everything your first read through, I mean, good luck.
No, you can't. You literally
possible,
can't.
Right?
You can't.
Yeah, like some of that only makes sense on a read through.
You have to. You really have to reread these books to get everything.
Or it'll only make sense in retrospect.
Yes.
Who's a world hopper. So, yeah. I like I said, I think that's pretty much the going into it stuff.
Okay.
Do you want to lead us through a recap of Way of Kings?
Oh boy.
Do you want me to?
That's a tall order.
We can talk over each other. We can stumble through it together, dear.
Okay. Let me go through Kaladin's arc first.
Okay.
Because the Way of Kings was Kaladin's book, right?
Yeah. God, how many months has it been since we read Way of Kings?
It's been a while, but we've only read Way of Kings like 6 times
each
or more.
Yeah.
So we kind of get to see Kaladin kind of in present day, but also through his flashbacks. He kind of grew up as a somewhat privileged kid under his father, who was the town's doctor. He didn't have to do any kind of farming or anything, but he always dreamed of being a soldier. Lo and behold, he does become a soldier. He ends up, after a lot of kind of back and forth, he finally decided to become a doctor, but then ended up following his brother into an army.
Well, yeah, I was about to say, but like, it's not, he chose to become a soldier, but that's after his younger brother got drafted, and he
gave up his dream to go protect his brother.
Yes.
Ultimately failed at that,
and it's, what was it, Bright Lord Wistio? Or no, Rishon. Bright Lord Rishon is the one he blames for his brother getting drafted and put into Bright Lord Amaram's army. Those are 2 key names that are going to come up again and again in this series. Kaladin resents
You're going to
them.
have to remember them for Way of Kings. Yes. Sorry, Words of Radiance.
Yeah. Well, and like, they are Kaladin's sworn enemies.
So Kaladin is in Amaran's army. His brother is dead. He's just kind of in a little bit of a mental fog, just keeps on renewing his contract because he doesn't know what else to do. He doesn't want to go home without his brother. So he's doing everything he can to fight well so that he can get to the Shattered Plains where he thinks where the true army is.
And he does his best to protect the
people under his care.
Well, and in particular, people who remind him of his small, weak younger brother, right?
Right.
He wants to be there to protect him like he wasn't there for Tien, his
This
brother.
is going to be a really long recap.
That's important. No. Okay, fine.
So he's doing his best to be a soldier, get all of his crew over to the Shattered Plains where the real army is. In his mind, while this is happening, Amaran gets attacked by a shard blade, which is really kind of unusual. Kaladin is so awesome that he actually defeats the shard bearer, and normally that would have meant that he won the shards, but Kaladin had just watched all of his friends
betrays him.
Well, Kaladin didn't want it, so I think he gave it to his second in command. And then Amaran ends up just killing all of them and taking the blades for himself and telling the rest of the world that
He won.
Kaladin was spared as a parting thank you gift from Amaran, saying like, well, you saved my life, so I'll spare yours, even though I killed everybody else. It shouldn't be a problem that, if there's one of you out there telling a ridiculous tale that nobody's going to believe. So he spends some time as a slave, and then eventually gets taken to the Shattered Plains as a slave, gets put in a bridge crew, which is pretty much just a death sentence. There he kind of goes through some mental health struggles, but ultimately determines that he wants to live. He ends up bonding Syl, who is a Spren, and becomes a budding Knight Radiant.
Yeah. And sort of where he ends his arc is that he saves
High Prince Dalinar
Kholin, who had just been betrayed as well. Should we say, maybe that's a nice segue into Dalinar's arc.
Yes. So at the end of Way of Kings, Kaladin is no longer a slave because Dalinar traded his shard blade for Kaladin and all of the breakers crew that Sadeas had.
And Dalinar's arc is significantly shorter than Kaladin's. Way of Kings is Kaladin's book. Dalinar is a bright lord, a high prince. That basically he's second only to the king. Him and the 9 other high princes in Alethkar. He's King Elokar's uncle, and he's really kind of fallen from grace in the eyes of the nobility,
but not in his own eyes. He thinks that he's moved on to kind of being a better man.
Yeah, he's trying his best to be a better man and be more honorable, right?
Because he has a history of just being pretty much a bro.
Being a warlord.
Yeah.
Yeah. But his arc basically is him, starting out on the outs in society. He has no respect. He's trying his best to do the best by his army, by his men.
Lead by example, and no one's paying attention.
Yeah. He starts seeing visions from the Almighty about uniting Alethkar, about refounding the Knights Radiant, about, something dangerous is coming. And the last vision he sees tells him that the Almighty God is dead, right? It is, he sees these visions every high storm, right? So periodically he just completely loses control of his body. It's super embarrassing. He does his best to keep it under wraps. After a lot of political maneuvering, he and his arch rival Sadeas team up
Best friends, yay!
Yeah, once best friends, now friends again. Team up. They go and they attack the Parshendi a lot. They have great success, and then Sadeas betrays Dalinar.
Leaves them out
Leaves them out to
on a
die.
really far away plateau for the Parshendi to just kill his entire army.
Yeah. So
who saves the day? But Kaladin. Kaladin and his bridge crew.
Yeah. Save Dalinar and his son Adolin and some of Dalinar's men. But frankly, by the time that Kaladin and his crew could get there, a significant portion of Dalinar's army had been slaughtered. But yeah, that's.
And don't forget that his dead brother's wife is seducing him.
Yes.
Which is super uncomfortable for him because, one, he really likes her, has always liked her.
Yep. Oh yeah, we should mention he has no memory of his wife, his actual wife, the mother of his children.
Okay, but that's only slightly alluded to.
Yeah, but okay.
The other thing is that the religion that they, or most of the country follows, does not really allow / it frowns upon the possibility of Dalinar marrying Navani because per their religion, Dalinar and Navani are now brother and sister.
Well, yeah, she's his sister-in-law. Brother and sister can't get married.
Yes, so there's that.
Yeah. Side note, Adolin in Words of Radiance, in Way of Kings, he's kind of, an annoying, arrogant prick.
Okay, but don't know spoilers.
No, but I really like I start liking his character in this book.
I thought he was always likable.
He's always fairly likable, but I just don't like him as much as Way of Kings, and he really starts becoming one of my favorite characters in this book.
Cut back to Shallan.
Shallan, you want to...
So Shallan, we meet Shallan. She is attempting to, in Way of Kings, she is attempting to become the ward of the very famous, well-known, respected scholar Jasnah Kholin. She fights her way into becoming that said ward, and this was all in an attempt to steal Jasnah's soulcaster,
which lets her transform objects from one material to another.
So Shallan, through great kind of personal strife, does eventually steal the soulcaster, but come to find out, it's a fake. Jasnah can actually soulcast on her own without an actual device. So soulcasters are real. They are devices that can be used to transmute objects. It's just that Jasnah doesn't need one, so she was faking. She pretended like she had a soulcaster so that she could kind of use her power.
Shallan can do that too.
Yeah, so Shallan is also kind of a budding radiant. Jasnah, though betrayed by Shallan, it does agree to take Shallan back on as her ward and has decided that they are now both going to go to the Shattered Plains.
Yeah.
So that's where the story picks up.
Yeah, there were
Words of Radiance.
There are a few other characters worth mentioning. She was familiar with a ship, the Wind's Pleasure, as she was trying to follow Jasnah around and become her ward. One of the noteworthy sailors there that she had a good friendship with is Yalb. He's not an important character. He's just a fan favorite. There was also I'm blanking on the name of the Ardent. What was his name?
Who's Ardent?
Cabsel.
Capsule's dead by the end of Way of Kings.
Right, but he was a member of an organization called the Ghost Bloods.
Yes.
Who
is trying to kill Jasnah.
Yes. He tried to kill Jasnah multiple times, as well as he had a tattoo that was the same symbol that was on, was it her dad or her dad's servant who had the soulcaster that her family had been using?
Yes.
So her family is politically toxic. They had come into very good fortunes because her dad had basically stolen a soulcaster and was keeping it under wraps, but using that to, we had a rich deposit of marble on our lands. Well, I guess I'm rich now. Right. But one of the shocking reveals at the end of Way of Kings was that Shallan killed her dad. So,
Yes.
That has not been unpacked yet. And this is Shallan's book, so that's probably going to be unpacked. She had visions towards the end of the Way of Kings. Before she soul cast for the first time, she had visions of these strange, symbol-headed creatures.
Those were our main viewpoint characters, weren't they?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's other stuff. I think the other thing worth mentioning is that Zeth is the assassin in white. He's the one who killed Gavilar. He's been going around the world of Roshar, assassinating world leaders at the orders of Taravangian, the kindly, good King Taravangian, who's secretly a criminal mastermind.
Do we learn that by the end of?
Yes, that's a shocking twist at the end of Way of Kings.
Okay.
We don't know. We see Zeth go through a little bit of a journey where he starts out as an assassin for the Parshendi. He goes and he continues being a slave and doing menial things, but then someone mysterious takes his oathstone and gives him a list of names to kill.
And who knows exactly what powers that he possesses and how to use them.
That's right. Because Zeth is not any normal assassin. He is a...
He has the appearances of being a Knight Radiant.
Yeah, but without... He doesn't have a spren, a spirit familiar, the same way that Kaladin does. He gets his powers from his shard blade, which is unique amongst shard blades.
I think that gets him more into what we actually know, but yes.
But yeah, I'm trying to think. I believe at the end of the Way of Kings, Taravangian orders Zeth to kill Dalinar.
He does, yes.
Yeah.
I do remember this now.
So, yeah, that's an important viewpoint character that we really don't get very many viewpoints from. Still important.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah. Well, thanks for podcasting with me, dear.
Yeah, thanks for podcasting with me.
And thanks, audience, for watching / listening to us. Our intro and outro music is licensed through Tribe of Noise. The artist is Ketsa, and the song is Odyssey. I forgot that our email address is cosmerecasual@gmail.com, and our social media handle is cosmerecasual.
And until next time, keep your wits about you.